Listen, I don't hate Pro Tools. I don't have no beef with Pro Tools. I don't want no problems. Matter of fact, let me do this real quick. Look, I got the purple lights in the background now. I'm cool. I'm cool with Pro Tools. I'm cool with all the passionate users. I'm cool. I don't want no beef. Bolo! All right, so I'm not gonna do any cuts or breaks in this video. So if I mess up, I just mess up, but I want you guys to kind of understand where I'm coming at with this whole Pro Tools situation, okay? The reason why I made that video about Pro Tools is because I felt that Pro Tools was kind of giving us lackluster updates, okay? I was upset. And I felt like making a video on that because I feel that there's so many other programs that have now caught up to Pro Tools to where Pro Tools is not really giving us the Pro Tools anymore. Now, we do have a lot of good stuff inside Pro Tools, but compared to some of the other programs that did not have all of that, Pro Tools right now is really kind of lacking a lot of features. Now, some of you guys may feel like you do not need those features, and that's cool. But you do have to understand that there is a new generation of artists, producers, songwriters. There's a whole new generation of that coming up. And a lot of these kids are not going to be going to a lot of big professional studios. And a lot of these kids are going to be producing themselves. They're going to be recording themselves. They're going to be mixing themselves. So why not have a program that can do all three of them, okay? Just like Studio One, just like Logic, just like Ableton, just like Cubase, so, and more. It's a whole bunch of other programs that can do that. Right now, you can produce in Pro Tools. You can produce in it. You can do a little bit. But you cannot really do as much as you can, let's just say, for instance, even Ableton. Right now, you can go into Ableton and produce a whole song, whether it's a rock song, hip-hop song, an EDM type song, whatever you want to do, you can produce that in Ableton. You can do it in Logic as well, and you can do it in Studio One, okay? I haven't really used Reaper like that. Cubase, I'm getting back on that, but you can do that inside of those programs. In Pro Tools, you can, but they do not have the same features that some of these other programs have. Now, for this to be the industry standard, you would think that this would have more stuff that comes with it. And for some of you guys, for some of you HD users and some of you people who have Pro Tools Ultimate, I'm not really talking about you guys. I'm talking about most of the people who own Pro Tools owns the Pro Tools Studio, or they own an older version that is like a Pro Tools Perpetual or something like that. Most of the people right now who are paying, some people got the deal over the winter break, which I use that same deal with Pro Tools Studio. You can get it for 12 months for $199. So you're paying basically $200 a year for Pro Tools and to get the updates and all this stuff. And then you can just pay monthly and just stay on the subscription plan, which is like $35 a month or something like that. And you can get you Pro Tools Studio version with 128 tracks, okay? And then you can get it updated every year, but you're going to have to pay for the update every year for 128 tracks and very lackluster production stuff inside of it. And they have a lot of old updates that are still inside of the program, which it is what it is. A lot of people know the quick keys. People know their way around it. Some people prefer Pro Tools like that, and it's cool. I know all my quick keys. I work around it really cool. It's great. But comparing that to something like Logic, to where you can pay $299 for Logic and you get you 1,000 tracks. You get you 1,000 instrument tracks. You get tons of effects that come inside the program, and then you can produce and record it and it sounds really good. Or say, for instance, something like Studio One, which comes with all of that plus more, And Studio One has some of the best time stretching. They have Splice integrated into it. They have so many features in it. It is crazy. Like, so many features inside of Studio One. It is insane what you can do with audio and samples inside of Studio One. Because right now, let's face it, a lot of music that's being made is music that has to be transformed, whether you're recording it in live or if you're using VSTs or whatever. A lot of times with this audio, people are chopping up audio more. People are timing up audio even more, and you have to have programs that are more intuitive when you're working with audio right now. And right now, a lot of these programs are killing Pro Tools with their algorithms on how to even stretch audio and everything. Like, it's so easy right now to do that inside of other programs. Like right now, if I want to go into Studio One right now and I have a whole session, whether I have VSTs, whether I have audio, whether I recorded my instruments in, and let's just say, for instance, I want to go through and take all of that information and pitch it down. They have a global tuner where all I have to do is press one thing and drag it up and down, and I can go ahead and tune my track to my liking, and it takes care of all of that in one simple thing. One little movement, I'm done. Okay? If I want to bring in other tracks, and I have one track that might be in the key of F and the other one might be in the key of like A or something like that, and they're not lining up, I can easily go through there, transpose things, and they'll automatically warp stuff for me, and it won't have all these artifacts and all this other stuff in it. It handles everything great. Same thing in Logic. Definitely the same thing in Ableton, because we all know Ableton has some of the best warping and time stretching. And then, they can find the tempo of even stuff that's not really lined up. Same thing inside of Studio One. It does the same thing. You can go in there. You can add in audio. It'll find the tempo, line stuff up for you. You can take samples that are not necessarily a perfect loop or like a perfect 8 bars, and it'll line that stuff up to where now it sounds good, and it'll go through there and do all this new technology and make it sound really good. Well, in Pro Tools, you can kind of do it, but you can't do it like the other programs. But this is the Pro Tools. So that's why I was saying, like, even before all of this, there was a lot of tools inside of Pro Tools that were simply not there, that were there on other programs previously to that. So I know a lot of people were saying, oh, Bolo, you're saying that Pro Tools is not an industry standard. It's not an industry standard. The one thing you got to understand is, what is a standard? A standard has to be set. A standard is not just because everybody uses it. And I understand there's a lot of pros out there. I got hit up by some people that are like real, like, people that actually mix and do a lot of stuff. And they were kind of explaining some stuff to me, which I heard what they were saying. And I heard some people that are real pros that do this, like real engineers and stuff that do this. And they were telling me, hey, I feel you what you're saying, because, if they did have certain features in here, it'll make our lives a little bit easier in certain cases. So at the end of the day, I don't hate Pro Tools. I got to use it. Okay, I have to use it. Just like I have to use Studio One, just like I have to use Logic, just like I have to learn how to use FL Studio. And we're not even going to talk about that. And then all the Reason people out there, all the Reason people that hit me up, Reason's very dope too as well. But what I do want to say is, if this is going to be going forward saying that you are the Pro Tools, make sure you have the Pro Tools in it, and make sure that if this is the industry standard, make sure that that standard is set high. Don't just kind of force feed us a few little features here and there that looks cute. Give us some real features that makes this a real Pro Tools and brings the standard up high, because there should not be any program that has any features better than Pro Tools. And then another thing too, a lot of people are like, oh, well, Pro Tools sounds better. It's a better sounding program. There's already been plenty of videos that's already proven that, okay? Especially when you're adding audio into the timeline, everything sounds the same. Now, if you're using samplers and you're using VSTs and other stuff like that, that's when the audio can kind of be degraded from program to program, which Pro Tools does a good job with that. I ain't gonna lie. They do a good job with VSTs and using samplers and stuff like that, and it kind of keeps the sample sounding good. It does do a good job, but when actually recording audio into the timeline or importing audio into the timeline, all the programs pretty much sound the same, okay? They all sound the same. People have done null tests and all that stuff like that. And I said pretty much, but all of them sound the same. People have done null tests and all that stuff like that. But I do want to say this. For everybody that's out there that's riding for Pro Tools, hey, got nothing but love for you. Nothing but love for you. For the people who are not riding for Pro Tools, just understand that I'm not hating against them, so I'm not going to get on these comments and just be like, oh yeah, Pro Tools is trash, whatever. I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon. Some of you guys are upset about Pro Tools. Some of you guys had to deal with a lot of stuff for Pro Tools, even me. That's why a lot of people know one of the main things you have to do in Pro Tools is make sure you keep saving your projects, because we know still to this day that you got to keep saving your projects in Pro Tools, because Pro Tools will shut down on you. It will do some weird stuff on you, and it's been doing that since the beginning of time. Okay? We've all been in sessions where Pro Tools has always acted kind of crazy. Okay? That's why some people even have it tattooed on their hands to make sure to press, Control Save or Command Save, because you got to do that with Pro Tools. Even with the auto save function, you still got to press Command Save. And then a lot of people are talking about, Pro Tools has comping and all this stuff like that. Yes, Pro Tools has comping, but have you seen how Logic does comping? Have you seen how Studio One does comping? Pretty doggone good. So I understand you guys, who are riding with Pro Tools. I understand that you guys, are saying, hey, this is industry standard, but just really think about it. Is it really the industry standard right now? So far as features, so far as making things better, because over time, things should get better. Okay, it should not stay stagnant, and then you just sprinkle a little stuff on it and then continue to say, well, we are the industry standard, or people saying it's the industry standard. Okay, I don't have no beef with them. I don't have no beef with Avid. I don't have no beef with anybody who use Pro Tools. I got it in all my studios, just like I have everything else in my studios, because I always have to remain ready on what anybody brings into my studio. And I'm just going to be totally honest with you. A lot of people, especially these kids, are coming in with a lot of sessions from FL Studio. I mean, recording and mixing and everything in it. I'm getting a lot of Logic sessions. I'm getting a lot of Studio One sessions now, because people are looking past the industry standard. And you have to be somebody in the studio to see this. Like I said before in my other video, you have to see this for yourself, because I get a variety of people, and people now are looking to change, because it's like, hey, we're doing everything ourselves now, and we need complete programs. So before I leave this, some of y'all are saying, well, what do you want, Bolo? What do you want? Basically, I want a few more editing tools. I want a few more tools in the mixer that will make it easier for you to route things to buses, or to automatically create buses. Like, say for instance, if I have 3 tracks, and say for instance, I don't even have any buses, like even made on my mix. Say for instance, if I have 3 tracks, and I have those 3 tracks, and I want to automatically send those to a bus, I want to be able to take it, highlight those 3 tracks, and then pull down a menu, and then just say, I want to send these to a bus, and a bus is automatically created without me having to create a bus, and then having to go to the 3 tracks, and then having to route those 3 tracks to that bus. That's one thing. I think that's fairly easy to do. Another thing that I think that'll be very dope is to say, for instance, we want to dub audio, or if we want to put that audio onto another track and there's not another track made. Like, say for instance, I have 2 tracks. One track might be a beat track. Another track might be somebody singing or rapping on that track. And let's just say, for instance, I want to take that track and I want to add that to another track. simply, in like Logic, all I have to do is take the audio and just drag it down and it creates another track for me. Same thing in Studio One. Just drag it down, it makes another track for me automatically. And then that first track, you can either use that track to record something new, or you can just add the other track back into it. That'll be something very dope as well. Just like little stuff like that, which those are not in even the newest version of Pro Tools. You can import tracks from outside of the program and do like that. But if you're in that timeline, you try to drag a track down, it doesn't even make another track. Now, there is some quick keys you can do with that, but just make it easier. I think that right now Pro Tools is losing the younger audience because of some features that it just doesn't have. And I think if you are that standard, then be the standard. That's pretty much it. But listen, I don't want no smoke. I gotta go to NAMM, man. I don't want no smoke, man. Not at all, okay? Not at all. I don't want no smoke from nobody. I love everybody. You know what I'm saying? I love everybody, okay? But, I got to keep it 1,000. If I see something that needs to be called out, I've called out other programs and other stuff before. This is not my first time doing this. But if you want to call yourself the industry standard, then be that. That's it. Just give us, a few key features. But right now, Studio One is looking really good. Logic's looking really good right now. Can't really get what we're able to, but, it's all good. But I hope you guys enjoyed another rant about this. This will be pretty much my last one. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm done. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section, if you agree with me or not. Blast me in the comment section. Do what you want to do. I'm cool. I really don't care. I have thick skin when it comes to stuff like that. Just don't do nothing crazy, all right? I don't want no beef. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this rant. Hope you guys learned something from it. Like I always say, peace out.